beside Randy Hill. See ya.
Well, the only thing I think Rick Morton said it, and Mark Curtis in there, they're outlaws, which makes Smoky Mountain Wrestling a haven for outlaws, because they're the ones that's condoning the whole thing.
No doubt about it.
Hey, listen, I want to tell you something. Just get out of here. You're here for a coin toss fun. No, you don't get anything. You're here. Will you quit?
I want to tell you people something.
Give me the microphone. You're not going to have an interview with me.
What do you mean?
This is the way I treat you, because you're a thug, and that's all there is to it. Now get out of here and wait. We don't have to interview you. Just get out of here. I'm telling you, you better get out of here right now. We'll have you.
Don't put your hands on him.
No excuse in that. Well, look at you guys, for crying out loud. They took that spur, they took boots, beat you guys. We've done a lot of talking. By the way, Randy is out of the hospital, and he's doing okay, but not as good as we would like. And you guys are back and ready and talking Texas Tornado Death.
Yeah, that's right. And, you know, I'd like to just say something about Randy there. You know, a lot of people, they watch Randy come out on this television show, and they think all Randy is just the big, tall, skinny guy that comes out here and runs people off and finds them and, you know, gets shoved down occasionally maybe or something like that. But there's another side that you know and that he knows, and that is one of the nicest guys I've ever met in my whole life, man. In my whole life. Randy Hales will give you the shirt off of his back if he likes you. Now, see, when JC and myself, when we go out there and we get busted open, it's a little different, man. You know, we kind of expect to get hurt. We expect things like that to happen to us. But when you see Randy Hales laying there in a puddle of blood, man, you can't help but to feel sorry for the guy. I ended up taking him to the hospital. As you know, there, they said his blood pressure had dropped 30 points, man. But, you know, the guy could have hemorrhaged. He could have, you know, did anything. This guy helps everybody in this company, man. He works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for all of us here that work for this company. He dedicates his life to professional wrestling. His phone's ringing off the wall all day long. He eats, breathes, sleeps professional wrestling. And for a guy like that to get that kind of treatment is just totally wrong, man. It really bothers me.
I gotta interrupt you here, Wolfie, to say this, that outside of Dave, which is one of the major reasons that I came back to work, and I'm delighted to be back here. Randy Hales is one of the reasons that I came back working too. Straight shooter and a guy just as honest as the day is long, and he's the kind of guy you love to call a friend.
That's right, he sure is. I want to send a message to the Rock and Roll Express, because I know what they're thinking right now is that, man, they are on top of the world. They're walking tall and they're loving what they did. I just want you to think. I want you to get Tommy Rich's phone number or Doug Gilbert's phone number. I want you to call them up, Ricky Morton, Robert Gibson, and I want you to ask them, hey, bro, what happens when you get PG-13s back against the wall? Tommy Rich is going to tell you that it hurt real bad. He put my eye out, if you'll remember. Yes, but an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. You ask him what it felt like when we threw that arm over that rope, and I took that ball back, and whoo, I whacked him right across there and broke it in 2 places. You ask him what it felt like to walk around in a cast, Ricky Morton, because something real bad is going to happen to you, and I promise.
JC, it was not a pleasant experience meeting with the Rock and Roll Express and all that happened in there, but I've seen you guys get even before.
That's right, Lance, and you know, this ain't my first rodeo. I've been around violence all my life, because everybody in the world knows that Bill Dundee is my father, and he come home many a week with black eyes, busted lips and mouth and head. But you see, he's a wrestler. Randy Hill isn't. And last week, in the middle of that ring, man, it looked like something out of a Vietnam clip. Man, it was the most unreal thing. There was blood this deep, man. So what we done is we went to Eddie Marlin. We said, Eddie Marlin, we want a match with the Rock and Roll Express. We want a Texas death match. But we ain't in Texas. I don't want to call it a Texas death match no more. I want to call it a Boys in the Hood death match. That's what I want to call it, because this is my hood. And when you come to our hood, rock and roll, it's time to pay. So you see, it all started out as a wrestling match.
Yeah.
And J.C. Ice and Wolfie D defeated the Rock and Roll Express in a wrestling match to prove that we was in the 90s. But now it's gone to the ego. Now they got to take it personal. Now when they get a man down, they got to beat you. But you see, Jamie Dundee and Kelly Wolf are tired of punks running over us trying to make names off of PG-13. So this week, Rock and Roll Express, you may have defeated more teams than us. You may have been around 10 years longer than us. You may have won more titles than us. But this ain't nothing about titles, nothing about nothing. This is personal. This is J.C. Ice, Jamie Dundee, Kelly Wolf, Wolfie D against you, Ricky Morton, and Robert Gibson in a Boys in the Hood death match. And I promise to my mother, and you can ask Tommy Rich and Doug Gilbert about when you mess with our mothers. I promise on my mother, Rock and Roll Express is going out in an ambulance, and the boys from the hood are hip-hopping all the way back to the hood.
They mean it, I'll tell you that. We're going to take time out. Got great action coming up with the King and Primetime Brian Lee a little bit later.